Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Alonda Tucker here, and I am super, super, super excited that you guys have decided to join on tonight for Journey with Alonda E. And tonight we have an amazing discussion, an amazing topic that's going to happen right here. And so I know you guys are tuning in. So as you're tuning in, I need you to do me a huge favor. You see the ticker down at the bottom. I need you to like this. I need you to share it. I know it's Labor Day, but I need you to put the hamburgers down, put down the hot dogs, because it's about to be a wild discussion. And I really don't want you guys to miss it. And don't be stingy. So share, 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 share. I'm waiting to see some of these shares come in. I want to build the audience a little bit. Let's get the shares going. Somebody said it's the graphics for me. Thank you, thank you. I've been working. I've been working. Amen. Hallelujah. I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to tune into this conversation because it's going to be amazing. And tonight I have some awesome, awesome guests that I brought with me that I'm super, super excited to have because they be booked and busy, y'all. When I say booked, I mean these saints be booked. So I want you guys to make sure that you're sharing right now. Make sure that you're inviting some people on. We're going to have a wonderful discussion about singleness and dating. And who isn't talking about that right now? So I figured, why not bring on these most amazing guests who are specialists and experts in a sense on this topic and discussion, and let's have a conversation. Tonight's going to be really, really fun. But before we do it, I want you guys to like. Again, I need you guys to share. Let's get these numbers up. Let's share this video. We want to get some people in here. So I'm gonna give you guys 1 minute. Let's get this up. Come on in the room, Saints. I see some of the comments. That's right. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Like, comment, share. Let's get some people on. We're going to have an amazing session. I want to see. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from tonight. That's it. Come on in the room. Okay, I see Gainesville, Florida in the house. Let's see. Okay. I see Tennessee in the house. What's going on, you guys? Make sure you're sharing. Make sure you're liking. It's going to be an amazing discussion. We're going to have a great time. And for anybody that's catching a replay, it's going to be good. Thank you so much for sharing. Detroit, Michigan. I see Georgia. That's what's up. Detroit. And from where you guys tuning in from? Let's share very, very quickly. I don't want to delay the time because it's going to be an amazing discussion tonight. And we have some great, great guests on. All right. I see you, Maryland. That's what's up. You know, I'm from Delaware. So, all right. So we have one lady by the name of Jennifer Trotter. We have two fellas on tonight. Who are my peoples. We have Christian and John. And I don't even think that I can do the introductions justice because they just do so much as it pertains to relationships and dating and helping singles. And so I'm going to allow these wonderful people to introduce themselves. So as they're, introducing themselves, be sure to follow them, follow what they have going on. And also encourage them, celebrate them, because again, I'm honored to have them on as my guest. So ladies first, we're going to kick it off with my sis, Jennifer. Just give them a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Hey everybody, I am Jennifer Trotter. I'm the founder of Single, Saved, and Social, a social networking group that cultivates safe spaces for Christian singles. I'm your auntie, your sister in all things godly singleness. I'm also the director of singles for the YLC conference. And yeah, so I am all things singleness and women and all that good jazz. And I'm excited to be here tonight.
That's awesome. I'm super, super excited to have you, Jen. Thanks again for being a part. Christian, let's kick it off with you next. Let the people know where you're from and what you do.
Hey, everybody. Alonda, thank you so much for allowing me to share on your platform. My name's Christian Reeves. I am from Baltimore, Maryland, representing for the DMV. And I'm excited about the great things that are going on. So I am the creator and content director for Black Men Talk as well as Preacher Talk. Black Men Talk is a safe space for Black men to come and talk about culture, lifestyle, and as well as current events. Every now and then we have a few beautiful Black ladies on to share their perspective, but we talk about everything. And Preacher Talk is is the safe space because Black Men Talk sometimes can be a bit provocative, but Preacher Talk, we have ministry gifts from all across the country to come on and share about their different experiences about Black church. So I'm what I call a Black culture curator. I love everything Black culture, Black church. We talk about it, we break through, and we have great conversations. So, hey, meet us every Thursday night at Black Men Talk, 10 p.m. That's
Awesome,
about it for me.
awesome. Man, you're great. Last but certainly not least, we have the John Momplaisir. Did I say it right? Did I say it right? It's French, y'all. And when I tell you I be working on my French, a
You
part of
got
me
it.
thinks
You
I'm
got it.
French, y'all. Did I say it right,
You
John?
got it. You got it. You got it.
Yes,
You got it.
yes.
You got it. It's John Momplaisir. I'm a father, a preacher, an inspirational speaker, and a coach. And I want to thank you, Alonda, for having me. I'm anticipating this dialogue. I really cannot wait. I think this is going to be good. I like that you didn't tell us anything. I don't know what we're about to talk about. And the anticipation is
Yes.
nerve-wracking, but I love it. I like that. Anything
And
crazy
there's
can come out
nothing
of my
wrong with
mouth
it.
and Jen's mouth. I'm
Yes,
sure
I love
Christian
it
as well.
too.
And I love it. I love it. I like this. I like that you have me on my toes. And so
I
I'm
have something up my
anticipating
sleeve.
this.
No, I'm messing. I think it's going to be great as well. And again, I'm
I'm
super,
sure.
super honored to have these wonderful people on tonight. And I didn't give them anything that we were going to discuss tonight because I wanted to hear it organically. You know, they have so much wisdom to offer,
I
even
love it.
things that might be left field, things that I don't even know if I'll agree with all the way, but all of these guests that are on here tonight offer a different perspective, and that's what I love the most. That's the way that we learn, and that's the way that we grow, and that's the way we enjoy life, is by hearing other people's opinions and perspectives. So again, I'm honored to have you guys on tonight. So let's kick it off. We're going to make it fun. We're going to start off with a little true false. Okay, so we're going to kick it off
Okay.
with a little true false.
All right.
Now keep in mind, we're always going to be talking about singleness and dating. So here's the first true false. True or false? Singles. Now, feel free to, add some content to this as well when you're giving your answers. But singles aren't content in their singleness. Do you guys think that is true or false? Come on, anybody, come on. True or false? Singles are
Uh,
not content in
cut,
their
cut.
singleness. True or false?
I don't, for the most part, I don't think many singles are content.
So you think it's
But
true?
I want to differentiate because, yeah, I think it's true. However, I do think there's a difference between content and satisfied. I'm content. I'm single and I'm content. I
Okay.
can't say that I'm satisfied. And every now and then a little craving creeps up, and
All right.
I sort of pray. I had a piece of a thigh. I want some companion next to me at night to talk,
Okay.
to cuddle,
Help
to be
yourself,
intimate
preacher.
with.
Help yourself.
Y'all just starting off early. Just go
Yeah,
for it.
and so, but for the most part, I don't think
So,
most are content, unfortunately.
so you think that statement is true? All right, Jen, Christian, jump in. True or false?
Jen, you jump in. Ladies
I'm gonna
first.
say true only because I believe I want to talk from the majority. I would
Okay.
say true for the majority. Singles aren't content in their singleness because they're not taught to. And I think that is a major key. So I don't know if it's necessarily their fault, but when we're taught to idolize marriage and we live in a culture of relationship goals, it's hard to find beauty and a rest in being by yourself. So I think it's true, but I don't know if all of the responsibility is theirs. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay. All right, Christian,
So
what
I
you
agree.
think?
I agree 100% with what Jen just said, but I fall somewhere in the middle. I think it has a lot to do with the sex. So I think that
Mm-hmm.
women a lot of times are content in singleness. I think sometimes men, depending on where their mindset is, we'll hold out as long as we can for this one, bro. We ain't trying to catch no garter, no wedding, nothing, nothing. We good. So I think it depends on the sex.
I agree.
Okay. All right. I think you guys did fairly well with that. I think you guys did fairly well. Okay, here's the next one. True or false? Social media has negative effects on dating and or relationships. True or false?
I think I find that to be true. Unfortunately, it's
Okay.
all up on the individual if you allow social media to affect you. But for the most part, I do think. I think there's so many relationship goals. I think people, uh, it's such a, people calculate how much of their relationship they want to post. Nobody is posting, well, not most people aren't posting the arguments, the bad times, the struggles. We see the highlights of everybody's relationship. And so I think it's negatively affecting us. When you look at singles, many of us are dreading Valentine's Day or Christmas or certain holidays because everybody's booed up. Never mind that they've been miserable all year, but because they're booed up, we feel like we're missing something.
Say that.
Yeah, and
Right.
so I think it can have a negative effect on us. A gentleman can post that he did this for his girl, his wife, whatever, and some other woman may be sitting there saying, "Man, it must be nice. I wish I had somebody to do that." And so, to some degree, I think it can have a negative effect on us. So I think it's true.
Okay. Christian, Jen, want to jump in? True, false? True, false?
I'm saying true. I think one thing that I found often is that there's a pressure for everybody again to show off their relationships. And all know this is kind of how my mind thinks. It's a battle of sexes in my mind.
Right.
I think sometimes the ladies have a little extra push for you to do that, and there can be some issues that are
Hold on,
created.
wait. Did you just say, wait. You
Huh?
said ladies have an extra push for what? Men to post on social media?
Yeah, to post them. The ladies want to
Hmm.
be posted, and I understand why you want to be posted. And
Hmm.
sometimes that's a matter of appreciation. You want to be shown off. I got you. And then sometimes that's I want you to know this is mine, and don't mess with it. And if he's not willing to, it can create some issues. And y'all not gonna act like y'all lost, like your friends don't have that conversation.
Can I add something in there?
Go ahead,
Yes.
John. Go
I
ahead.
think it's affected us also because I think many of us, for men, unfortunately, we're forgetting what real beauty looks like. We have all these filters, and everyone's an IG model, and social media just fine on social media because of all these filters, and so
Right.
we're being affected because we're forgetting what true beauty looks like. When we see the authentic, genuine, organic woman in front of us, we're preferring social media as opposed to what we see before us. So to some degree, we're being desensitized to true beauty, and we're being sucked into this social media sort of universe, if you will.
Okay. Jen?
So I'm caught in the middle, like at first response, I want to say yes, but I feel like, is social media really the problem, or is it the cracks in our heart that's been exposed through the tool of social media that's the
Thank
problem?
you. That's
I
good.
think that our insecurities and our not feeling fulfilled allows social media to affect us in a negative way. But it's
Mm.
hard for me to say, um, I don't know, because social media has never affected my dating or relationship. And as to Christian's point, I do think I agree for the most part, but I do think that it depends on the woman. Because as for me in my house and where I am in my life, I don't want you posting me right now unless there
And
is
I'm
a
with you,
secure,
sis.
right, unless there's a secure future, because I don't want you to mess up my future and what I have going on and the brand that I have
That-
going on if this does not
Talk
have
on. Talk on. I'm gonna push you.
longevity, right? So I have a brand on social media. I have built a platform on social media. So I'm not pressuring you to do
Huh?
anything. Our
I mean,
But
conversations
that's
around
that's
social
why you
media.
have a brand. A lot of these women don't have no brand.
But so that's what I
oh
say. And that's why I
wait.
say it
Some of them
depends
are
on,
building.
some of them are building, but I think it depends. Like me alone, I know what and I get what you're saying, like the majority, right? So I don't disagree with that. But I do feel like there's a 5% of us who is like, take that down. Like I want
And
you to know this,
expeditiously. Do you hear?
who wants to post.
Expeditiously.
Like you may have wanted to post for my birthday, but nah, bro, we're not there yet. So, I that's just kind of where I am. So that's why I'm torn. So I don't know if I have a true answer, because social media has never negatively affected my relationships. And this is before the Jen y'all knew, if that makes
Right.
sense. So
Right.
it was, yeah.
This she's basically saying, Christian, this is before she had a brand. Still don't post her. Amen.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, I'm talking about even when I was in a relationship, like social media wasn't a part of our conversation. Like if we
Yeah.
had issues, they were deeper than
Right.
social media, whether or
Yeah.
not, you know what I mean? So I think that social media exposes cracks in our hearts and things that need to be dealt with. Because if we like, social media is a tool, and if we use it the right way, it has so many positive benefits. But if you are
Yeah.
insecure and you're looking for it to validate you, then it can tear your life up. So
Absolutely. I think you made such a great point just then, Jen, with saying that basically at the end of the day, social media is controlled by people. It's utilized as a tool. So, I mean, social media ain't hurting you. He or she might be.
right,
You
like you've
might have
been
to, you got to
cheating, you've
check
been a
that.
liar, you've been
Yeah.
sneaking around, like you've been there.
Ben.
So social media just gave you a bigger platform for you to be an idiot. But
Right.
you've been, that was already there.
It was there. So
I
social
should have
media
been
just
born in
exposed it.
1950.
Social media just exposed it.
I should have been
Okay.
born in 1950.
Me too. I'll
You,
take 60s though. I'll
hey,
take 60s though.
I
I'm
second
not
that.
from this generation. I'm just putting it out there. All right. Next one. Let's do it. True or false? Getting to know other people while dating is considered cheating. True or false?
I'm
Now I'm
ready.
interested to hear. I'm interested to hear.
False.
And you guys that are watching, make sure you're sharing this right now because it's about to get real interesting. We got some zesty people on. Our guests are zesty, okay? They come with the answers. So they're just taking a while to warm up, but it's about to get real. But I want y'all to answer this question.
Let me
True or
go first
false?
because I'm gonna be the oddball. I'm gonna be the oddball here.
All right,
And
let's go. True
before
or false?
here's the thing. I'm gonna paint a scenario. Maybe that could.
Paint the picture, John.
I believe that there are unspoken rules to dating that we don't
Mm,
necessarily lay out on the table, but it exists within our emotions. And so, let's say I meet this young lady. She is gorgeous. She's everything I've prayed for, desired, dreamed of. I meet
right.
her. Things are going well. We go on a date. Everything's just as I imagined it would be. So on the following day, I decide, I'm going to go and go back to the restaurant because whatever it was that I had was really good. I show up and here she is with some other Negro. We're not in a relationship. She
Right.
owes me absolutely nothing. But to tell you that I won't feel a certain type of way, I would be completely lying to myself.
John.
I just got to keep it 100
Okay.
because when we're feeling someone, what we tend to do is we create something in our head and in our emotions where we bound ourselves a little bit. We start fantasizing for the future. We're anticipating the next date.
Even in the dating phase, just
In the
like the
dating
talk phase.
phase, yeah. Because
Okay.
and I teach people this. I tell people to never invest feelings until there is some type of commitment. However,
Okay.
the reality is it's not as simple as it sounds. And this is coming from the person that teaches and preaches this.
Right.
It's not simple because if I'm really, really feeling you and this is going right, I'm gonna feel some type of way. What you done been with me? Why did you need to go check somebody else out? And so I know technically, in technicalities now,
Okay.
we're not in a relationship. And if
Mm-hmm.
I were to flip this, the women would understand exactly what I'm saying. Because I've
Okay.
seen women do this. They go on a date and then they find out the man is dating somebody else. He's not obligated to you. He's not committed to you. However, they hit up all their homegirls. You start seeing shade on social media. These dogs out here, these no good. Watch out for them. What happened? You got in your
Okay.
feelings. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think there's this unspoken emotional rule, if you will. We
Okay.
get in our feelings. That's just a fact of life. And so, for that purpose, I like the idea of getting to know one person at a time. I think it complicates things when you're dating multiple people.
So you're saying true, basically.
Pretty much.
Okay. Christian and Jen, getting to know other people while dating is considered cheating. Yes or no? True or false? Give it to us. Because I saw y'all just sitting back there, like clenching onto your chairs, like I don't know how to feel about this. So I need to know, true or false. Y'all
John,
the
I can already see where this
experts.
is going with you and I tonight. I see this already.
Come on, let's do it.
It I call it pouring responsibly. It's the same thing John just spoke about. You got to get
Okay.
that fantasy out of your mind because we're not where we're not. And if
Absolutely.
there's not a conversation about exclusivity, sis, bruh, he or she can go to the same restaurant. Now, let me say this. Sis ain't going to the same restaurant that she went to. Women are smarter than that. They ain't going to mess themselves up. It'd be us to go, oh, I'm going to take her to the same restaurant. Sis ain't going to
Y'all,
take
and
no.
y'all got to
She gonna be
stop
like,
doing that.
she gonna be like,
I
I
need the
can't.
brothers to get a little bit more creative.
Yeah.
Okay.
She gonna say, she know in her mind she just went here last week with somebody else and he may show up. So she's not gonna do that. But no, exclusivity is a conversation that has to be had. If you start building past the conversations that are there, you are setting yourself up for failure and to consistently be hurt. Pour responsibly. That's what I gotta say.
Can I mention something?
Uh-huh.
I have a theory. I think to some degree the dating multiple people, to be honest with you, and I'll tell you why I believe this, is practicing divorce. Here's why I believe that.
Look,
I
I
know it
see
sounds
Jen. Wait,
extreme.
wait, wait. I
We
see
we
Jen's face. So
I love it. I love it.
okay.
We have this
Okay.
concept. I've already made up in my mind where I'm gonna go tonight, what type of
All
person I'm
right.
gonna be
Let's
here.
go. Let's go.
We 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 have this ideology that we're gonna do what we want while we're dating. And then somehow all these habits that we formed, we're gonna wake up, get married, and it all just shifts. If I'm dating 4 women, this is just John, and I'm sure there's a group of individuals out there who are similar to the way that I am. If I'm dating 4 women, and I have Keisha, I have Jessica, I have Judy, I have Elisa, and
About to start singing PB Pablo.
well, I'm getting to know them. I'm dating. I'm getting to know them,
Right.
and uh, Alyssa gets on my nerve, right?
Mm-hmm.
She gets on my nerve. I have no motivation to even try to make it work. That's just for somebody like me.
Right.
Why? Because I can
Because
just
you
turn
can
around
go.
and I go to Keisha.
Okay.
I
Right.
don't have to deal with this.
Right.
I already want to believe
You ain't got to deal with it at all because you got options.
I got options. And can I be honest with you? Personally, my own personal life, probably one of the biggest issues that my problem is I have too many options. How do I make a choice? There's just way too many options out here. It's
Okay.
problematic.
Because I want to ask. I want to ask something. I really want to finish this true false, but now it's so much stuff that's come to mind. But before I do that, Jen, I have to get your true false statement in because you were making a lot of faces. And so I know where somewhat, I think I know where you somewhat sit when it comes to dating. So I need your opinion, like true or false. When you're getting to know people while dating, is it considered cheating? I need to know.
It is false. However, I think that we have to be honest in our communication, and
Mm-hmm.
we have to be honest in how we deal with people, right? So if you're getting to know, if you're not committed until you're committed. You're not
Mm-hmm.
committed until you're committed. And I think some of the things that trip us up is that we make assumptions before there is a conversation. Now, as to
Mm.
John's point, if you had a great dinner with the young lady and everything is going right and everything is amazing, the reality is neither one of you owe each other anything
That's
until
Right.
right.
we have discussed what is the next, like what is the next. And I think that we are so fearful of having honest conversations. The real
Mm.
question is, are you dating other people? If you cannot handle that, then you are free to pull out
Right.
from that. You are free to say, this is not a situation that I want to do. However, again, to John's point, can you passionately and actively date 4 women at the same time? You can't.
But
I
wait a
mean, I'm
minute.
talking
We have
about,
to define dating.
but so
What?
that's, but I'm saying, like if he's saying dating, taking them out and stuff, unless you really got bank like that, you're not actively dating all 4 of them. You may be talking, you may be. So I think
But
that we
is that
really need to.
okay, Jen?
Can
Are
we
you saying
define
that's okay?
talking and dating?
But I think
Because
I think to all of you guys' point, we need to figure out what the blurred lines are. And the question was, getting to know people while dating, is it considered cheating? I would say false, unless there is some type of commitment. If we're exclusively dating, that means that you're not dating anyone else other than me. But we have to stop making assumptions. And for women, what I teach is you have to stop thinking about your wedding on the second date. That man doesn't owe you anything. Doesn't owe you. You have already
Right.
made up in your mind your wedding, your flowers, and all of these things, and all you need is a groom. So the first person that comes and shows you some conversation and a little bit of liking, then you're ready to marry him, and that's not it. Because that
At
great
all.
date, John, is amazing. But guess what? I haven't seen you angry yet. I haven't seen the other things that you come with yet. We just had an amazing time, and we're going to stop at that, and we're going to leave it at that until we have an honest conversation.
Okay.
I don't disagree with that at all. I
Yeah.
just think some of us, this is just for some of us, uh, to those of you who can just forget about the whole date, it was a good date, and just tell yourself it's a good date and go to sleep that night, that's wonderful. I think some of us have issues, maybe mentally. Maybe, I may need a little extra prayer. Sometimes something with the mind, it goes there,
You
you
know,
know.
that's real though, John. I think what all of you have been kind of saying tonight is that it's important, expressing the importance of having that conversation. Because if you don't have that conversation, then you basically have unrealistic expectations of what
Very
should
much
be
so.
or what shouldn't be because you haven't set those things in place. So I think it's important to have those type of conversations. Now, on the flip side of it, is you can have those conversations with people and they can still lie, and you can say, all right, well, we exclusively dating, and they like, well, I don't want to put Alyssa and who else did you say, John, these
I
names,
don't even
fictitious
remember
names,
their
Tanisha,
names.
I don't want to put them away. So
Oshonda.
I'm just going to tell all y'all that we all exclusively dating because we are, and then I'm gonna go back and forth. But I think something that you all said that's vital when we're talking about dating is making sure that we are having those upfront and honest conversations. So we're going to continue with this. We're going to keep it rolling because we didn't even get into the questions yet, the real questions yet. But here's the next true false. God chooses your future spouse. Is that true?
You're throwing out
Or
some
is it
good ones
false?
tonight. These are good.
False.
God chooses your future
False.
spouse. True or false?
False.
False.
Well, well.
There's an exception, but it's false.
So I don't believe in the one. Like when I hear people talk about that, I'm like, no, that's not biblical. But I do think that God will say to you, yes or no, this is a person that's expedient and good for your future or not. But I don't believe that I don't believe in this specific one person that people are searching for.
Okay.
I think it's false. I don't think God chooses our spouse. That's the general rule. However, I do think in some, I think there's an exception to every rule. I do think in some rare cases that God does choose for certain people. Um,
Okay.
I think depending on the purpose, the calling, the assignment, I think God to some degree may play matchmaker where he may orchestrate situation and cause two individuals to cross path, but ultimately, even at the end of the day, to still be their choice. But and I hate to use this example, but in the case of Hosea, uh, it appeared that because I'm false too. I believe it's false. Generally,
Mm-hmm.
we choose. However, in the case of
Right.
Hosea, uh,
The Lord told him, go marry
the
that
Lord
harlot.
told it. Yeah, he sure did.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one that I don't like. I don't enjoy that. However, that appeared to have been the Lord's choice for him.
Mhm.
Now, and then there's a text that say,
Okay.
and I love that somebody just quoted that he who finds a wife finds a good thing, obtain favor. That's wonderful. But there's also a text that makes the statement that whom whom God has joined together, let no man put asunder. The implication there is that God is taking responsibility for whom he has joined together. That also
Mm.
implies that he's not putting everybody together. So generally, I don't believe he puts everybody
Ooh,
together. But I do think there's some
that's pretty good.
exceptions to that rule.
Okay.
And so I try not to limit God and say yes and no to things that only God can really give a response to. So generally it doesn't appear that way. But however, I always leave the case open when we're dealing with the Lord. I think he's just that great of a God.
That's
Too
that's
great
that's
for me to comprehend at least.
that's good. That's real churchy right there. You
I'm gonna quit
that
it
oh
before
that's
the
churchy.
show is
Oh
over. I'm
that's
gonna just
churchy.
say,
Oh, he's too great to comprehend. What art
oh,
man that thou art
hush up.
mindful. You hear that's churchy. All right,
Yes,
you
sir.
you said false. Give it to
Well, God
us.
doesn't even make me choose him. So if he gives me the
Is
decision
this
to
thing on?
choose,
Hello? He don't what?
he doesn't even make me choose him. And he's God. He gives me the choice to choose
Well,
him. So if he gives me the choice to choose him, then I know that he'll give me the choice to choose him, lowercase h. Just
I
like
am.
Daryl. Daryl said earlier, God presents them and we choose them. I believe that God parades us options, and then with
That's
those
you're
and it
churchy
may not
tonight.
all be
He
at the same
parades
time.
us.
He
No, he
par-
parades
He
us.
he
parades.
parades.
I'm serious. I mean, in the
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to, we preachers and stuff on here, so I'm not trying to be deep. But when Adam was presented to animals, the text says that it is not good for man to be alone. Then the animals are paraded in front of Adam, and he did not call any of them his wife. He named the animals, and then his wife was created for him. So I
Mm.
believe that there is a presentation of choices, and we choose who that person is. I believe that God, he loves covenant. He dwells in covenant. So he blesses the covenant of marriage because it is his design. So I believe that if you pick the best option for your life and design and align with where you think God is taking you, then the Lord will bless it. And
So
he will
you
strengthen
saying
your
we got
covenant.
options, sis? You saying we got options?
Well, not I don't want it. I don't want it to be, because we get excited. So the options may not be presented at the same time, but you could choose. You could have chosen to marry that guy at 19, right? Not
Uh
knowing
huh.
who you would be at 30, not knowing your development, your evolution, where God would take you. Had you had chosen to marry him at 19, who would you marry now, right?
That's good.
So,
I think this is an age old topic, and it goes
Yeah.
back to the free will versus predestination thing. I know
Mm-hmm.
some people who are arguing; they do a very good job at it. That we may think we have the choice, but we don't. And so, some people say,
Yeah.
did Jonah really have a choice? And somehow
Mm-hmm.
that God, in the end, is going to get his way. So it's an age old argument. I think I'm with everyone. I think we make the choice. I do think in some extreme, rare cases that it's. I think the Lord can choose.
I have a question. Do we all agree that the Holy Ghost will tell you when you need to run?
Oh yes. Well, no,
But
that's if you have the Holy Ghost. That's
okay,
for starters, because there's a lot of people getting in these entanglements because they ain't got no discernment. And I ain't talking about no judgmental ghosts that folks just try to pick apart people for no reason. I think discernment is important. We need the Holy Spirit. We have to include God in our decision making. I don't think a lot of us do enough of that.
that's right.
And I
So
think that's why we end up in entanglements,
true.
because we don't involve God in our decision making. Even small decisions like the talking phase or the dating phase, even phases without commitment. I don't think we involve God in the small stuff. And then by the time we already 15 years in the marriage, now we want a divorce, and now we crying out to God. We should have
that
involved him in the talking stage. And I was thinking about not being single no more. I think I may want to start dating again. That's when you really should involve God in those type of decisions. But of course, I don't know how this thing becomes churchy, because I'm just trying to this is supposed to be, a real practical conversation. But we got
Because I
it, so
can
we're
put
here
on my
with it.
preacher hat, but y'all put on y'all preacher hats
Oh,
tonight.
I see. I wasn't
no, no,
trying
no,
to.
no.
We
It just,
started off with
sometimes it
John.
just comes out. It's John though. John started it.
Oh,
It's John started it
Jen.
Yeah,
what?
with
yeah, because
Jose.
John did he got in his voice. He got very
He
prolific on
did.
us. He was
He
getting
did.
ready
And
to
then
go.
Jen came
Um,
around talking about the
okay,
parading of the
The
let me
animals.
take
I
the
ain't never
parade
preacher
get
hat
that.
off.
and
I
I
said,
got to
my
take the
God.
preacher off.
Yeah.
Preacher's go.
Now the saints is in the comments talking about it's a season of the parade. We
Lord
want a
have
parade in the
mercy.
pandemic, huh? That's what the saints are saying.
No, but I want to drive that real quick because literally, I just thinking about had you had married some of your exes, think about where you would be now. You had the choice to
That's
marry
real.
them,
That's
right?
real.
And you could have made a decision, and some of us were presented with the option of marrying them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there may not have been anyone else inside at that moment, but something on the inside of you said, I, there may, there may be more to that.
Yeah.
And just thinking where you are now, would that have been the best decision for you?
mm-mm.
So just
Yeah.
think on that.
That's really good, Jen. And I think, some of y'all need to be praising in the comments right now that God didn't allow you. Get an X on your mind right now and start giving God glory that He didn't let it be so. Right? So thank you guys for that. That was our true false. Oh, wait. I got a bonus one. I got a bonus true false. There was a woman by the name of Vicky Winans who wrote a song that said, "As long as I got King Jesus." She said, "I've been lied on, cheated. This is the
Mm-hmm.
gospel breakup song.
Mm-hmm.
Talked about and mistreated. But since she threw away the mother, the father, the sister, the brother, but she said, as long as I got King Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
I don't need nobody else. Is that true or false? Y'all think that's a true statement? I'm asking for me.
What you mean?
Long as I got King
No,
Jesus,
it's a false
I
statement.
don't need nobody else.
Yeah, you
And
do.
on tonight, obviously, we're talking about from the standpoint of singleness and dating. So, long as you got King Jesus, you don't need nobody else. I'm
Uh,
asking y'all
J-
personally.
He
Jen
doesn't.
made Jen made the wonderful point. You see that uh, Adam was in the
Somebody said
garden,
Vicky
the cool of
lied.
the day. She definitely lied. Adam was with the animals, and he was with God in the cool of the day, and yet God still declared it's not good for man to be alone. It seems that the animals were beneath him, and he interacted with God on another level. He needed somebody to connect with, uh, and that's why when she came, he said, "Bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh."
Mm-hmm.
Shall be called woman. He needed somebody he could connect with on a level that God wasn't trying to connect with him on. You understand what I'm saying? And so,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
no, it's not just I'm good with Jesus and I'm all. No, I need it. I want to touch something. I want to lay hands on the Holy Ghost. You understand? Hallelujah.
All
I
right.
want,
Somebody says Vicky lied. Vicky was mine. When I tell you that it's the gospel breakup song, it's a bop though. It's definitely
But,
a bop.
but I
Uh,
want to be careful with that because
Right.
there are those who do choose singleness.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, you need connections with people.
Right.
That's
mhm.
how God moves. Where His hands and His feet, you need people in your life for those specific things. But there are those who are gifted and who God has called them to singleness, and they've chosen singleness, and nothing's wrong with that. If that is your declaration in that sense, when we talk about romantic love, if Jesus is what you need. Now, Jesus can't be your boyfriend. Women of God, Jesus is not your boyfriend. He did not die on the cross to be your boyfriend. But if He's your Savior and you're fulfilled from that standpoint of romantic love by what He does as a Savior in your life and
Mhm.
as your Father God, I don't see anything wrong with making that declaration that Jesus is enough for me.
I agree.
I ain't called to
But
that.
however,
I
I
know
want
for a
I
fact
want
I
to
ain't
add
called to that.
Neither am I.
I want to add, and I mean, we may not be called to it, but like you were saying, John was talking about from a standpoint of romantically, right? But even being called in a space of singleness, where you're saying I'm devoting my life to God, not to give myself to a man or a woman or husband or wife, there is still connection is necessary, even
Sure,
for
sure,
ministry.
sure.
You can't do it by yourself.
Yeah,
That's why we have the fivefold ministry. If God was enough, why do we have pastors, teachers? He put people here in the earth. So even if we're just talking about from a connection standpoint, we're built for fellowship. We're built for
that's right.
connection. And I
That's
think
right.
that that's something that singles, even when we're talking about singleness, that we need to recognize as singles. And I'm gonna let y'all talk because y'all are the guests. But I think that that is something that we need to recognize as singles. That whether we have romantic love, we can start maximizing the love that we have where we are. So whether that's giving love to our family, friends, church members, like maximize where you are. And that's one of the questions that I actually want to ask you guys. How do we maximize our single season? If those people who are out there are single, how do you best maximize your single season? And Jen, I want to kick it off with you first because I know you have single safe and social, and this is the type of stuff that you really dive into. So how can we best maximize our season of singleness?
So I think one, we really need to fall in love with our portion right now. And what that means simply means that I don't want to be single for the rest of my life. I am not called to a lifetime of singleness. First of all, and I'm just gonna be honest, because I'm gonna have sex before the rapture comes. So as a married woman,
Huh?
amen.
Don't crack
I
that
mean,
sky, Lord. Not yet.
y'all called me
Not
on
yet.
here, so
Lord,
we
you
gonna
hear
talk
me?
about it.
Not
So
yet.
that's not so that's not, however, in the season that I'm in right now, I am going to maximize every part of my life. I believe that there are benefits and there are sacrifices in every season with every portion. And in the single season, your abundance, can be traveling, your abundance can be your business, your
Yeah.
abundance is literally exploring whatever God has for you to do right now. Don't get so focused on what's next that we miss what's now. Also, I think that we can maximize our singleness in finding value in community and friendship and platonic relationships. So
That's
many
good.
times we get off track or we get discouraged because somebody comes along and we literally throw away our entire lives because we make them the center of our joy. We need
Yes.
to learn how to live balanced in our relationships. We
So
need to
true.
know how to give people the right time in the right season, and really being around people that pull out the best of us. Like really pull. Don't allow us to be comfortable. Don't allow us to be complacent when there is
Yeah.
more for us right now. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent,
No, that's
but
really
I
good.
believe
Good
that
stuff.
the single season can be the abundant season, and I don't
Hmm.
understand why so many people are waiting around for wedding rings, and they don't even have passports. I don't understand that. There's
Yeah.
a pandemic outside
Yeah.
right now, but you're waiting for a man to give you the world, and you don't even have access to it. So I don't understand those types of things. So we
I'm
need to
with
be
you.
living our best life.
I think self development could also, if I could add to that,
Hmm.
I think
Hmm.
we could also be developing ourselves. I think we could be discovering our purpose and walking in it. I think we could
Yeah.
be stacking our bank accounts
Hmm.
in addition to traveling and just enjoying life. I'm with Jen on that. You shouldn't put your life on pause
Hmm.
in
Right.
just to wait on the one. I think you should be living actively, walking in your purpose, living life, enjoying life. Um, Enjoying the freedom you have in singleness, because there's a level of freedom you have in singleness the minute you get married is gone, and
Yeah.
we as singles don't contemplate or think about that. You have to consider the other person. You can't just do what you want. Right now I could scratch my behind the way I feel like it. uh, just I just have a level of I go out when I please. I
Right.
come back in when
Right.
that's a level of freedom, believe it or not. I
Yeah.
don't have to answer to anyone and say, look, I'm you know when you get married, that shifts, that changes, and
Hmm.
especially in the beginning, it's not always comfortable, and so enjoy that.
I
Enjoy
agree.
its
I agree.
benefits. There's benefits to singleness.
For sure. Christian, did you want to add something or you want to move to next?
I do just simply want to say, learn you. Traveling is a good piece. Doing the work of ministry is great, but realizing that God has called you to yourself as well, and learn
Yeah.
you. Because oftentimes, I used to like this movie called The Runaway Bride. I don't know if anybody remembers that. It's old, from the '90s. But in Runaway Bride, she would lead up to marriage, and then she would run away and meet another man, and every single time that she met a different man, she changed the type of egg she
Hmm.
liked, right? And
Mm.
there are a lot of us who don't know anything about ourselves. Depending on who we're with is what we change, and who we become in that moment. And so I think it's very important that we learn who we are as individuals. That's important.
I think that's really good. I think all of you have pointed out the benefits as far as being a single in, yeah, self-development, knowing yourself and learning yourself. How you going to learn somebody else and you have yet to discover who you are? And I think it makes things difficult if we talk about being in it for the long haul, right? So looking towards marriage, I would like to believe it will make things difficult if you don't know who you are and they don't know who they are. Then y'all both sitting there trying to figure it out. It makes things a lot more difficult. So let's go on to the next question. When dating, a lot of us, all of us on here are believers. So a lot of us are, looking forward, especially if we're older. I think a lot of people tend to date with the intent to marry. Am I correct in saying that? People date with the intent to get married. Do you think society, as well as the church, has properly equipped both men and women on an even scale of how to prepare for married life?
No, far from it. I'm sorry. I didn't let you. No,
Okay.
I forgive me for saying that. I think the church. I love the church. I think the church is phenomenal.
Mhm.
But I think we're failing our men. Um, if the church would focus on building men as husbands as much as they're focused on telling women to be good wives,
Huh?
I think we
Hold
yeah
on,
we
wait,
would
wait,
have
wait, wait,
we would
wait,
have
wait,
much
wait,
better
wait.
marriages.
Say that
Yeah.
again, John.
You hear everything about Proverbs 31 and women being this and women being that. That's wonderful. The sisters could quote it better than I could because they've heard it all their lives. There's not much teaching telling us men how to be men and how to love wives and how to court and how to date. And that's problematic. And I hate to do the little comparison. But that's one of the things that I think men find attractive about other faiths, in particular, like the Muslim faith,
Mm-hmm.
because the masculinity is intact. They feel
Yeah.
you could be a man. You don't have to become a woman. And sometimes I think the church is guilty of
Yep.
feminizing men,
There we go. I say it all
as
the time. I
opposed
agree
to
with you.
embracing our masculinity and teaching us how to flow in our masculinity, harness our masculinity, how to be protectors and how to provide and how to love and how to cover. Uh, we're sort of ignored. I hate to say it. We're sort of ignored. We're not taught self control.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's the. I'll tell you this. So I'll give you a little testimony. So years ago, right? I started preaching at a very young age, 16, and I fell into sin.
Okay.
And so I was a little horny, nasty saint, and yeah, and so my ex got pregnant years ago,
Mhm.
y'all. I'm in my 30s today, so please have some grace. So
No,
she
you.
gets
This is.
pregnant.
Go ahead.
She gets pregnant. I'll never forget that I go to my pastor. I've informed him of what's happening, and he refuses to sit me down. She gets sat down,
Mm.
and he's her father.
Mm.
So she
Okay.
gets sat down immediately, but no, they need me. What are you teaching me at that age? Now, luckily, I had other great men. My father was in my life who taught me a lot of great things, but it's just it's imbalance. It's just unfair to me. And so you're
All right.
telling me that it's okay to go around and just smash whoever, be undisciplined, have no self control, that there are no consequences to
No
my actions.
repercussions.
Exactly. And but yet to the woman, she's gonna have all hell break loose. I just think it's unfair. I think it's unfair. So I think the church can do better. Let me
Yeah.
put it that way. Can do better in equipping our brothers.
Well, let's talk about church from a systematic and financial standpoint. Like when we look at ministry, one reason why we don't see it is because there's no money in men's development. And some of that is our fault because we don't run to development, right? And so we
Mhm.
do know that there's more money in Woman Thou Art Loose than there is what was the men's conference that he did. That's not what we're running to. So I think that we have to do a better job of presenting things that would even cause a man want to come. Because when we
Right.
talk about men's ministry in general, the only time the men's ministry gets together is during football season for the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
And so I
Mm-hmm.
think that we have to present that in such a way that would draw them. If you're going to get men in a space of development, you're not going to be able to do it the same way that you do for women's convention, women's conference. You're going to have to make that look very different.
I think to your point, Christian, and then I want to get Jen in on this because as a female, I definitely want her to offer this from the female perspective as far as where she thinks the scale is, if there's a balance. But I think to your point, Christian, you're talking about systematic church. We also have to look at, well, what does the hierarchy look like? Where you're talking about there's not enough finances that go into the development of men, but it's men who are not funding men, because more times than not you're going to see more men than you would women. It's
More
still a
men in
male
where
dominated
leadership
field, huh?
Male
and leader
leadership.
And
and
Yes. Yeah.
leadership,
leadership,
Yeah.
that's what I mean, and
but
leadership.
but there are
So
no men in church. We're
In
not.
leadership. In
Yeah,
leadership.
Well,
leadership.
in
whose fault
leadership.
is that? Whose fault is that? I'm sorry, my ears are steaming. Whose fault is that there are no men in church?
I think there again to John's point when he talks about the feminization of the black. Because we have to talk about when we say this, we have to say specifically the black church.
Okay.
There's that, and I think that is a great deal of men in leadership. I've been in church my whole life, and I have seen men come to church and we not foster relationships with them. You can't when a man joins your church, you have to engage a man. A man needs
Very
a
true.
job. You don't sit a man down for 30, 60 days of new members class because that's the way you've been doing. He's not coming to new members class. He needs something to be able to say, I'm putting my hands to use. This is why I'm here. It gives me a reason to be here. So we have not cultivated the relationships with men to even
No,
come
it's
in.
not we.
So
It's
Oh,
not
that's
we
so
though.
good.
So
men
I
have
think
not
that I think we have
cultivated.
to be honest. It's not we. It's the men of the church. So when we say things like there are
uh,
no men in the church, and most of the men are our pastors, our bishops, our apostles, our overseers. It's your job. Men beget other men. So let's not say we because it's not us. Women, because there are more women in the church, we train who we have. Women beget other women. I can get my homegirl to come to church. I could evangelize to my homegirl. I can teach them all of these different things. So let's not, when we have this conversation, we need to be honest about where the ball has been dropped. Because if you're catering to women because there are more women in the church, then you have not adequately done your job in evangelizing to men and bringing them into our kingdom. The reality is, our men, for the most part, and I'm not bashing you guys because I have amazing brothers. I want to be very careful in
Yeah.
how aggressively I say this,
Mhm.
but because we have men that are not living how they're supposed to live, because we have public displays of disgrace, because we have the other side of men that are may have feminine tendencies and stuff like that, then the men aren't coming. But we're not going to say that it's we didn't, when the men for the most part are leading the charge in our churches and are not multiplying the multitudes of men. So let's
Can I
let's be very
can I add to
careful
that?
of that,
Let me answer.
in
I
my
don't know.
And
opinion.
I do want
I,
to add something as well. Go on, John.
I don't know that I can just say that it's the men's fault.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that I think women have mostly our fault, but the women, there's some things there too. Um,
Okay.
I'll take married women for example. So you have the sister who has the unsaved husband. She comes to church, he doesn't show up. He's probably never going to show up to church because of she goes home and she says she spears olive oil all over his pillow because in her head he's demon possessed. When she has a problem, it's just a problem. He's got a problem. You're demonic. That's why I got to rebuke the spirit off of you. And so you have that dynamic, and that turns men off. And what they see in the church with women, not just with leadership, what they see with women can also turn men off. And sometimes there is the feminizing of men is not just happening with just male in leadership. Sometimes there are some sisters that play some role in that, and so I don't want to just shift the blame completely and totally to men.
But
I
who are
think
the
the
I,
leaders,
I, I just
John? Who
I
are
just
the
have a
leaders?
question.
You're
I just have
acting
a
as if
question.
women aren't
No,
pastoring
I'm not saying
churches.
that we're
That's
not.
what
No,
I'm
no, no,
saying.
no.
Women
But
are
as a
pastoring
whole,
churches.
I got one
in
question,
our
you guys.
denominations and all of them, women in leadership is a new phenomenon. We have not been around
It
for
is.
centuries. Let's be very intentional about that. We're
So
here
let's talk
now.
about the breakdown. Wait a minute. If we're going to
Wait,
talk about the
let me
breakdown
ask
of
let
No,
me just
churches.
ask
Mhm.
one
okay.
question to you guys real quick. Because basically what you guys in so many ways are trying to say is like females are responsible for creating environments for men to be men. Are males responsible for hosting Proverbs 31 conferences to
No.
help women develop and become wives? No, they're not. So, what I think Jen is trying to say, what I also personally believe, and Christian, the only reason why we're talking about church from a systematic structure, I think you brought that up. That's the only reason why we're pointing that out and
Yeah.
talking about the black church, because this wasn't supposed to be about that. But nonetheless, I digress. The only reason why we're saying that is because there are more men. Yes, women are evolving. Yes, women are now becoming pastors and things of that nature. But there are more men in leadership. And this has been, I don't want to say an ongoing problem. This has been an ongoing thing. So if you don't expect men in leadership or pastors or whatever to teach women how to be the Proverbs 31 woman or wife, it's not fair for you to say, well, it's the woman's fault that men don't
No,
know how
no,
to
no.
be
We're
men.
not
It's the
saying.
No,
woman's
I'm not
fault.
saying that.
We're not saying
Okay.
that. We're not saying it's the
That's
woman's
All right.
fault. We're saying it's not 100% blame on men and zero on women. We're saying
Oh,
we
I know.
can't
I
just
agree with that.
we
Okay.
can't shift the whole blame on men when I can pinpoint some scenarios where women I think play a role in that as well. That's what I'm saying. And so
Okay.
without a doubt, I think men should do more. Now, let me say this. There are great men out there who are doing this. And some years
Mm-hmm.
ago, obviously, Jake's had manpower. I thought he was very effective. We had another bishop, I won't say his name, out of Atlanta that said that he's going to be the first bishop to have a church with, I can't remember the percentage, but it's going to be a male dominated church. And he succeeded at doing that. Unfortunately, he had a horrible fall from grace that didn't end too quick. Don't do that.
Praise his holy name.
What
His name
question? Did I
shall be
miss something?
praised.
He
Did I miss
succeeded.
something?
No, you know what, Christian? You're a smart guy. And
Yeah.
however, there are some men who are really trying. And with this new phenomenon with women pastoring,
Okay.
I'm going to be honest with you. I've gone into some churches where it's just even the decoration makes me run a run. I'm going to be real with you. I mean, just pink
John,
carpet,
people don't understand
pink
this.
carpet, just flower all over. I don't want. I
Okay.
just,
So
I just
I
want to
don't
be
want
honest with
I
you.
just don't want to divert because all right, so I don't want to divert the conversation and make this whole thing about men and women in ministry. We actually have a week coming up where we will be discussing all of those wonderful things. So I just want to just kind of bring us back on track as it pertains to singleness and dating for tonight. Do you think the scale is even as far as training?
No,
It's not about
no,
who should be
no.
training and all of that
That's right.
stuff. Okay. All right, cool. So we all agree that the scale is unbalanced. Now, as to who is responsible, now I ain't gonna sit on here and just let y'all men just have it. Cause John and Christian, I can't just let y'all say that women gotta be responsible for making men men. I'm sorry,
We
I
didn't
can't say
say
that.
that. That's
But
not what we're saying.
So what y'all
okay,
saying?
but
I want to talk about if we're gonna have if 1 second. Let me tell you something.
okay.
Just as more influential in church leadership, we have to look at the secondary leader, and the secondary leader in most churches does fall in most cases as a female leader. In general, we're not creating culture. I'm not gonna put it all on the women because I'm trying not to say some things be stereotypical about
Please,
women pastoring and what that's
please
done
don't,
to a lot of
because
men in church.
that's
I
not
don't
what
want to
tonight's
go
about.
there.
That's
Yeah,
not.
I don't want to
Yeah,
go there. So
I think
all I'm
men
saying
and
is
women need to work together to
everybody
help
said
build
work together.
people, which build the church. However, I'm just gonna put that disclaimer,
Mm-hmm.
just say John and Christian. Now, I'm just gonna tell y'all my opinion. Now, I'm just saying I ain't gonna let y'all put it on the women because this is like
No, we're not doing that.
it's just like with mothers and daughters or sons and fathers. Both have both have an equal role, but there are only some things that a man can learn from a man and a woman can learn from a woman, and that's my
I,
point.
I don't disagree at all. Let me. I want to make sure that I'm coming off clearly. I don't disagree at all, Lando. Jen,
Okay.
I'm not in disagreement with you. What I'm saying is, for example, we'll put it in. Let's talk about family. And so you have
Okay.
a father and a mother. Um, an absent father obviously will affect his son.
Okay.
Can we agree with that?
Agreed.
However, to pretend that a toxic mother would not affect them as well, is to be lying to ourselves. To shift the blame simply on the absent father and to say, the toxic mother has no part to play. I think it's what I'm saying. I'm not. All I'm saying is 100% of the blame can't go onto the man because again, I've seen some cases where I
Yeah.
think women have gotten their hands involved and. As a result, it has caused some issues. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
That's not to say I'm not saying that men aren't responsible. I'm with y'all. Men
Okay.
need to be men to train up men to teach men, and I'm hear you. However, there are some dynamics, a lot of dynamics that goes into this.
And a
Okay.
lot. I know you got to move. Father deficit plays a lot. Then we have to move to slavery. We have to talk about things that
Yeah.
happened throughout civil rights because there were men in the
Good.
church, and there's a lot that happens there that splits that. So no,
Yeah.
I'm not putting it all on the women. But
And when I
we
tell
all
you,
have
it's so much that you can even unpack with all of this. That's why I say I don't want to divert.
Mhm.
I don't want to divert
And can I
from.
also say this though? I
Yeah.
don't want to belabor the
Go
time,
ahead.
but people are profiting off of women's conferences,
Yes, they
and they're
are.
profiting off of selling marriage to women,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
And it's
that's
horrible.
a big part of that.
Yeah.
However, when we talk about the balance, we're not going to act like men are being taught. They're just not being taught to be husbands because we have excellent elders and we have excellent preachers and we have excellent all of these other things.
I agree with
So
you.
the focus has just not been stirred in the right. It's just not.
Right.
So
They
you
can tell
have
you
these
about vestments, but can't
ready-made
talk to you about life
wives.
insurance.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
They can talk to you about vestments, but can't talk about life insurance
Amen. So we have these
and
ready-made
stocks.
wives who
Mhm.
are lined
Mhm.
up, and yet we have amazing elders and amazing pastors, but they're horrible husbands. So I'm
When
gonna
I
when
leave it
I
agree
at
with
tell
you.
you, I heard Bishop Jackie McCullough say one time, she was talking about the body of Christ at large as a whole, and she was, equating the body of Christ to being a family. And she said, people are great at ministry, but they're horrible at family.
that.
And that's what I think we're dealing with. We have, like you said, Jen, wonderful elders, great bishops, great pastors, wonderful leaders. Sometimes maybe we're not preparing them to be the husbands. Same thing for women. Maybe we're not preparing them to be the wives. But I don't want to stay stuck on this
Can
too
I just
much
say one
because
little
now we're
thing?
going. Go
Jen,
ahead.
Jen just said something, and not only do I think that we're profiting off women, single women, and unfortunate, I think we're keeping black women single because
Mm.
it's generating income. But that's neither here nor there. Go ahead
Yeah,
with your
yeah.
next, so we
I
could
think
go on.
that's all good, you guys. We kind of diverted, and I want to be mindful of you all's time, man. I didn't even get to a lot of these questions, man, but this is really, really good, and I so appreciate all of you guys' perspective. So, very quickly, just run down for me. What are some of your dating deal breakers? Like, let's make this fun. Give me your personal opinion. What are some of you guys' dating deal breakers? What do you say? I'm absolutely like this. I'm not going to do. Like, I can't have this. We're not going to date if you do this or if this happens. What are your dating deal breakers? Give me some.
Some of my dating deal breakers is using spirituality to mask who you really are. I absolutely hate that.
Ooh.
People who show up on the date speaking in tongues, casting out devils, trying to prove to me how much you're the greatest intercessor. I could care less. I need to get
Okay.
to know you. Don't try to mask who you really are in spirituality. Because after marriage, we're not going to be on a mountain all the time praying and fasting. Every now and then we got to come down
For sure.
and praise God. I want to, you understand, lay hands.
Got
Um,
you.
Kindness is a big one for me. Are you kind not just to me? They're usually
Yeah.
kind to me. For example, the waiter or the waitress. How do you treat other
Hmm.
people? That sort of stuff. Those are deal breakers for me. And so I don't want
Huge.
to be too long
Okay.
winded. I'll let the others share.
Christian, jump on in. What are some dating deal breakers for you
A lack
from a
of
male's perspective?
a lack of professionalism and a
Okay.
desire to build a career. I'm a pretty balanced guy. We do church, we do media,
Hmm.
and we talk in church. We as
Right.
singular. Um, those are very important things to me. I have to know that you're serious about your career and your academics. I'm an academic, so I enjoy that. Another for me is you have to treat your family well. I want to see how you're treating your family, and then I also need to see how you deal with change, because
Mm.
with all the different things that I do, if you're not a person who is flexible in time, flexible and kind of process of dealing with different things, and everything has to be one specific way, we are probably not going to work. Those are
Okay.
important things for me.
Jen, what's your deal breakers? What are your dating deal breakers, sis?
No job, no ambition, and no vision.
Mm.
Um, so I don't know what's your job. It can be a whole lot of different things, but you got to have one. You have to get up and do something every day. If you don't something about ambition is very attractive to me, and it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you have to just be on this grind all the time, but you do have to have a vision and a plan for your life, because you can't leave me if you don't know where you're going. um
Yeah.
Also, hygiene is very important. I know we said a lot of spiritual deep things, but hygiene is very important to me. I love a good smelling man. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. um
Mm.
John said something that I was going to say as well. Kindness is very important to me. Like, how you treat a homeless person is a deal breaker for me. And
Huge.
I'm not saying you got to give all our money away, but you're not going to. I
But
don't
you
like.
better not give all our money away.
Yeah, don't give all our money away, but I like kindness. How you treat the waiter and how you treat people. Like, there's this new phenomenon of messy men that's going around, where men are messy and catty, and
And gossip.
I don't like it. I don't like that. I don't
Hmm.
like that new phenomenon of men. I, yeah, I like a man who is strong in
Okay.
who he is and his leadership ability, and it's just that messy man, really, just in everything, everywhere. Like, I like some. My man needs to have a little bit of mystery about himself. I don't want him to be everywhere with everybody doing everything.
Agreed. Agreed. I like that. Those are some great dating deal breakers. I see a lot of people in the comments talking about hygiene. That's
I
important.
just want to
Okay.
say I was on my good behavior because I'm on your show.
No, no, I saw that in the comments. Free yourself, Christian. Free yourself. Go ahead. Free yourself.
I can say a few of them.
Okay,
Well,
yes.
I think
Just keep it. Is it PG-13?
I will stay PG-13.
Amen. All right. Go
I
ahead.
think it's important to have a woman who has a bit of a testimony. You need to know
Okay.
some other things, right? Now, how you learn those are up to you. I'm not saying you had to have, you know, you just, when we come together, I need you to be a learned individual.
Okay.
That's
And
for me.
that's your preference.
Yeah, because
We're
I
just
don't
making
want
that
to.
disclaimer.
Yeah, that's my
Okay.
preference. I like a woman who's had some experiences in her life.
Okay.
I
All
don't I
right.
don't run from that.
Okay. All right.
Let me
Well,
put it like that.
huh?
We'll put it like that today.
Yeah.
I'm
So
never mind.
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah. Y'all gonna have to take that to black men
Go,
talk
go.
podcast. But but no, no, no. That's those are your dating dudes. I mean, that's your dating do's and don'ts. And everybody has a difference in, what's acceptable for dating. And I guess it all
Oh, and
depends on
loving
what you're looking
God.
for.
Loving
Oh,
God.
Oh yeah.
nobody
I know.
said they had to love God.
No,
My
and
Lord.
not in a
Nobody
selfish
said
way.
it.
Not in it, because I think that's a given with all
Yeah.
of
Right.
us in our relationship with God. But like at the place that I am in my life, I need you to love God more than you love me. I
Yeah.
need to know that when you're upset with me, that you won't dishonor me because you
Yeah.
love God.
That's good.
Like
Yeah.
that's a big deal for me. Like your own intimate relationship with God. I want a praying man for real.
Right.
Like
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's really, really, really good. Okay. Um, we are now living in a technological age, as we all know, hence the platform.
mhm.
Um, People are dating in different ways. So this is a two-part question. The first part of the question is, are you guys okay with using technology to date, quote unquote, shoot your shot? How do you all feel about that? The second part of that question is, um, backtracking a little bit earlier, we were talking about, does God choose your spouse? Somebody had brought up the scripture. He that finds a wife finds a good thing. How do you guys feel about women shooting their shot? So first part is, how do you feel about dating in a technological age with dating sites, all of that stuff? Do you feel like it's okay to do? This is the new wave. Everybody should be on it. Second part is it okay for women to shoot their shot? I'm trying to
let,
condense everything
let
because
me
we
try
spent
to go
some
so I can
time
be
breaking
quick
down the
with you.
church culture.
And this is going to be coming from a traditional man. I like the whole idea of meeting organically, going out and you meet somebody, and all that's wonderful. However, I think in today's day and age, I think social media has created an opportunity for us to meet phenomenal individuals. Most of my friends today, uh, I've met business partners I've met through social media, ministry partners I've met through social media. Um, Online dating, believe it or not, as horrible as it is for some, they have a very high success rate. Maybe not all of them, uh, but they have very high success rates. And so I think, yeah, you should use it. Concerning women shooting their shot, here's my thing. I think it's okay for women to initiate uh, dialogue, to initiate conversation. And I guess if you would define that as shooting your shot, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm not with a woman pursuing me, though. I'm not with that. You understand? I like the idea, just because I'm traditional, I like the idea of me um, doing the pursuit. That's just me. It's instinctual for me, and it's personal to me. Everybody else is different, but I guess if initiating contact or initiating friendship is what you mean by shooting shot, then I think
Hmm.
it's perfectly fine for a woman to shoot her shot.
Okay. Christian, Jen.
So I have to say that I don't have an issue with a woman shooting her shot, and I have to call brothers out when they say that they do. Because if sister's fine enough, you don't care if she shot her shot. You don't care. We don't care if she fine, if she my type. I don't care if you drop
Gotcha.
roses off at my door. But when it's someone, and it's the same for the ladies too, when it's someone you're not attracted to, if you're gonna shoot your shot, man or woman, go through your profile. Make sure you got some good pictures where you dress nice. Show that you got a job. That you, if you have kids, do you
That's
care
real
for your
Christian.
kids? You know, prepare that in such a way. But if I'm attracted to the individual, because that's the first thing, come on, that's how we're deciding if we're responding to the DM or not. Are you attracted to this individual? That's how we decide. Now, I have to say this. My lady and I, we met each other online. And
Okay.
it has worked very well for us. We met on Facebook. I shot my shot. You know, I said I would never talk about her till we were engaged, but I talked about you today. Okay, so
You
I think
talk,
both
if
of
you're
us.
watching, look, he's
Yeah.
setting you
Oh.
up.
Anyway,
He's setting
anyway,
you up.
so but yeah, so I think it can work. Let me say this: with that, I did not do an official date. We had what was called a pre-date, where we both knew if this don't work, you got to out and I got to out as well, because meeting someone online is very different. So there shouldn't be as much pressure. I don't believe it should be as formal when you all actually do meet each other. In case there are no vibes there, that's
Okay.
my truth.
Jen?
So I agree. I believe that we're on social media, digital platforms for everything else. I think that you should be open, if that's your thing, to meeting other people. I've had a great success in I guess the online world. My ex-boyfriend, and it's not because of online, but my ex-boyfriend actually met me on Twitter
Oh,
and flew to see me. I've had people
Wait,
fly
wait, wait,
in.
wait, wait, Jen. I'm sorry to cut off your testimony. You said
you
he
got
what? He
Flew in.
you
he
you
He
him
didn't.
flew
out. He
on,
got
He
you
didn't
flew
mean
out.
fly her out.
on his
Huh?
own dime?
He flew in on his
On,
own dime.
on
He
his
rented a
own dime.
car. Hmm.
Oh, okay.
He
Go ahead,
flew in.
proceed.
He
She didn't get
flew in.
flew
He
out.
rented a car and came to my house to pick me up for our first date.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, huh? What'd you say?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
as it
I've
should be.
had
But go ahead.
usually most of my, and I don't mean to sound no type of way, but most of the people that I have dated have been from out of state, and they have come in, flew in, and we've, you know, that there's that. So I don't believe that there is I think we should be open. Just, we thought we would never do church online the way that we are, and it's been proven to be what we have to do, right? So I think if we're open, um girls, let me just tell you real quick, because I got the mic right now. Don't
Tell it.
you limit yourself to what you see in your churches and to what is going on around you. You will catch somebody's eye, and they will fly in to see you. It's happened multiple times. God bless.
Thank you.
So I
That's
just wanted to
good.
put that plug in, because we get discouraged by what we see in our churches and around. No, 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 no. So that, like, to Christian's point,
Christian, don't make that face because
That
it's
hurt
real.
my feelings.
It's real
what?
though. She said, you said that we get discouraged by what we
No,
see
some.
in
I mean,
church.
in my church, if I go to older church or whatever, and there's no
Oh,
bachelors there, I
okay.
can get
All right. As
discouraged.
long as
That's
you
what I'm
straighten
saying.
it out. I hurt my little
So
heart.
no,
I was
don't be discouraged. But
no.
as to Christian's point, I think that we do have to make sure that we do have your profile. If you're single, your profile should look single. You
Yeah.
should detox your profile and all of that, because it may not be that someone is shooting their shot. Some things may happen organically, and you don't want to turn people off because they think that you're married, or they think that you're with someone else. So their conversation is a little bit different. So there's that. I'm okay with online dating. I do think that you have to, because we are spiritual people, you need to have the access and the clearance from God to online dating. If some of us cannot handle all that comes with online dating, because it provides a level of access that you may not handle. And if you are in the spirit of catfish, you don't need to
I
online
was
date. If
about to
you're
say
not
that because
honest
that's
and you
real.
don't like yourself, you don't need to online date, because you out here lying. So there's that. Um, so I am not a woman that is going to shoot her shot. I'm very aggressive, and I believe if I got to shoot my shot, then we're probably not going to end well. Like, it won't work. What I
Okay.
do believe in, however, women of God, is that you leave breadcrumbs. There is a way that you can engage on social media that you will let someone know that you are interested. There is a way that you respond. There is a way that you engage that will leave the door open, right? If you don't take the shot, then I can't help you. Like, if I have led the breadcrumbs my way, and you decide not to pick it up, you're not the man for me, because there is a certain type of man that I like, and if I got to do it all, we're probably not going to work. So, can women shoot their shot, girl? Man of God, do what you do. However, I think when we talk about shooting your shot, we need to be honest and know that every shot doesn't make it, just like in basketball. So if you're going to shoot your shot, you better be prepared for the rejection that may come your
Because
way.
it might be blocked, huh?
Right. It may be blocked. And you also should do your homework before you shoot your shot. Because then you're shooting
But
air balls and then your self esteem is affected because you haven't properly done your research. So
but in response, I do have to say this when we talk about that. Nothing wrong with shooting the shot, but for both sexes, be respectful. If you're not interested in the
right.
person, just
Mhm.
say, hey, this
I'm
isn't
not
for me.
interested.
And
Yeah,
then, brother, if she does not respond, if she chooses not to respond, which is her choice, and if she does make clear that she's not interested, don't stalk this girl. If she didn't respond, she just didn't respond. Don't be out here because some of y'all get crazy.
But even with
it's
women
real.
too, even with women
That's
too, he's
real.
not obligated to respond. If he doesn't know you, if you haven't had any conversation with him, he's not obligated to talk to you on social media. He doesn't know you. So I agree. Don't be disrespectful, but that person doesn't even owe you an explanation if they do not want to. They don't owe you to engage with you if they don't want to. Like that's the part of the rejection. So I think men do a little bit better, because y'all be a girl, y'all been doing that for centuries, and sometimes it don't work out. So y'all cool, but with women, if you're out here, because that was the question, can women shoot their shot? You got better be like you got to be okay with if he doesn't respond or if he says I'm not interested, then you cannot go on social media and bash him for a shot that you took that did not make it in. We got to be fair. That's
Yeah.
not be
I mean, I think
respectful.
the reality of it is, Jen, I feel like there are some that are out there who are shooting their shot and possibly getting rejected, both men and women, who haven't taken the time to properly heal in their
Mhm,
singleness and can't even handle rejection.
mhm.
So there are a lot of people who haven't dealt with that stuff in their singleness, and then they try to, well, I think I'm ready to date, and they just go out here and then they get rejected. Now you're a wreck, because you haven't
accept
taken
the
the time
bro,
out,
accept the sis.
huh?
Right, right.
Accept the
Except,
bro
oh
and
yeah,
accept the
and that's the
sis.
thing too. If somebody calls you bro or sis, you are in the family officially. You're invited to barbecues. You allowed to come to church, but that's it. Once you bro or once you're sis, don't try to get out that box. You family.
You there and you
You there.
stuck.
That they put you in the family box.
Call for such a time
So
as this.
that's good. I have a question, and I just want to let our audience know because I've already kept my guests too long tonight. But I do want to give the audience a chance to ask some live questions. I'll probably take like two or three. And while those comments are generating and while people are sending in their questions, I want to talk about the idea of this alpha male or alpha female. Now we live in a generation where women are doing more, they're out more. We're running businesses. We have brands. We're building things, and there have been a lot of stigmas. I feel as though, when you look across society and in the church world as a whole, there have been a lot of stigmas on alpha females, pertaining to them being controlling, non-submissive, non-nurturing, because they operate maybe in a boardroom or in business or what have you. So I want to ask this question to all of you all, specifically right now to the fellas, and then I want to get Jen. I want to get your input as a female as well, and as someone who has built a brand and is doing wonderful things. How do you feel about alpha females? And is number one, is there such thing? Number two, is it possible that maybe all alpha females aren't non-nurturing or aren't the stigma? How do you feel about the stigma overall as it pertains to alpha females?
So before I answer, I want to salute all the women who are breaking glass ceilings, whether that be in corporate America, the church, all and whatever you're doing. I salute you with that, and I think it's incredible because I think women have a place in those spheres. Now, I say this: I am a, and I am a traditionalist for myself. I have high expectations of what I should do for my woman. Now,
Mm.
I have a great deal of grace for a woman in what she does. But I think that the thing that becomes very important is if you're going to be breaking glass ceilings outside of the home and you say, hey, I'm not just going to be a housewife, which is nothing wrong with being a homemaker if that's what you choose. I think the important thing to do is for you to find a woman who has already done such and follow her. I do think that there are some women who do not do a great job. They don't do well balancing ministry or work or whatever it is. And I think that they need to have someone to be subjective to and who is able to call them out and say, hey, sis, you're not doing well. And you are going to lose your man if you don't do this. Vice versa for the man as well. If he's not taking care of stuff at home, he should be called out. But I think that there's this, we tiptoe as men sometimes, and we don't feel like we can just say that because then we're chauvinistic, we're misogynistic, we get called Me Too on us and everything else, which I'm not downplaying those things. But there are a lot of things. They're cancel culture for men. And so it becomes very hard for us to be able to tell that truth. But there's still an expectation for me, sis, if you killing it at home, you got to make sure you still holding down whatever we have decided are your responsibilities at this house. If not, as your husband, while you sitting up there preaching and the people up there talking about she the husband of one wife, I'm gonna say she did do such and such and such that she was supposed to do for the last 2 weeks, but she getting ready to preach to y'all. Preach, sis.
Horrible. John?
I struggle with the whole alpha female thing. I'll be completely honest with you.
Okay.
And in relationships, that is, because what you do at work, that's one thing. But it's just been my experience. It's just me personally. I'm finding that there are a lot of masculine women who want to occupy the space of masculinity within the relationship or marriage. And when that happens, either the man will occupy the feminine space or he's going to exit out. And most masculine men will step out. Uh, let me try to say, I don't know how to explain this without them blocking me tonight. But I have an issue with the strong woman. I don't know if you heard of the strong woman. And people say, you got a problem with a woman being strong? No, I have a problem with the women who announce that they're strong. You got to come in the room and remind everybody how strong you are. It's problematic to me because usually that word strength has a whole completely definition from what the word strength that we know. Strength is not something, it's like a lion walking around telling everybody I'm a lion. You can recognize the lion by its roar, by its look, by its demeanor. What it is, tell you what it is. A strong woman is a strong woman. She doesn't have to convince anybody that she's a strong woman. And usually what I find is the women who are claiming to be strong, and sometimes they're just insufferable. They're bad attitude. I'm a strong woman. You're not going to, you, and I have a little bit of an issue with that personally. My experience, whenever I've heard the term alpha women, and it could just be my experience, it's always been associated with bad attitude, women who had some trouble with getting along with men. Now, I have seen women who were able to balance being in leadership at work and in ministry, and then coming home and having great relationship with their husband. But in my personal experience, the women I've dealt with, I don't know if the I don't know if y'all know the ones I'm talking about. The strong sister. I got a problem with the strong sister.
I know what you're talking
okay.
about,
I don't
brother.
know how else to say it.
I did. And here's the thing that will confuse you. They are lying, hear me roar, and then you say something, and then all of a sudden, why'd you say that to me? I'm a lady. I don't understand because I'm confused. Exactly. Can you take it or can't you? What's you? I'm confused.
Okay, Jen, let's get your
So I've been
opinion.
here trying to restrain myself.
No, well, here's the thing. I want everybody. This is a respectful platform, and that's why I brought you guys on tonight because I love to hear the variety of perspectives and responses. So give it to us.
So I think we have to be mindful of the plight of the Black woman.
Okay.
The Black woman is the most unprotected, unsupported, and almost the bottom of society. So I want to be very clear that women who are strong for real and not just wanting to parade around, a lot of us are strong because we have to. A lot of us are strong or alpha or whatever because they were left uncovered. That's another
Hmm.
conversation we need to have.
Bro, that's
They were
good.
left uncovered, right? So they had no choice but to fend for themselves. So when you encounter a strong woman or alpha woman or whatever the case may be, and then she's a godly woman, so I think that um some of them have some things that need to be broken in their lives so that they can trust again, so they can believe again, so they can heal again, so they can love from a whole place, right? So everyone, like someone called me an alpha female, and I was offended because I don't call myself an alpha female.
Right.
However, my strength that you perceive it to be may be intimidating to you. However, I have no desire to be strong in the presence of my husband. I
Hmm.
am ready for him to take the lead for a man that I can trust, right?
Right.
A man that will protect me, a man that will fight for me, a man that lets me know that I don't have to be strong all the time. That's what he's here now. So all that you've been doing, let me reassure you that you don't have to do that here. So I think it's a misconception that they don't want to be submissive because they do. But I think when
Hmm.
we talk about the strong woman, we need to talk about the plight, her story, right? You have a single mom, because they're singles too, that
Right.
who's been single and raising her children all all these years, and then you come along and you want to bat your chest, hear me roar, when the reality is I've been providing for these kids on my own. He walked out on me. I made it work. I made 2 slices of bread turn into 8. I made it work, right?
Come
So
on.
when you come along, then you have to reassure me. There is a caressing of the heart that has to happen when
Yeah.
you have a real one. I'm not talking about these play little girls that want to be strong, that don't have no backbone. I'm not talking about them. I'm not talking about women who just want to be seen and who got that rah rah with no substance. I'm talking about the
Hmm.
real strong, whose muscles have been built in trauma and in her experience, right? So
Yeah.
that's what. So if we're going to talk about, we don't want this and we don't want that, we need to be covered. And I'm not just talking about just your wife. I'm talking about your sisters. I'm talking about your
That's good,
aunties.
Jen.
I'm talking about the time when they used to walk us to the cars. I'm talking about the time where you could not cuss in front of a woman, where you could not
Right.
disrespect another woman, right? I'm talking in the presence of a real man. I'm talking about if he raises his voice, there is an uncle somewhere looking at me saying, "Are you okay? What's going on here?" I'm talking about that. So we're going to talk about the plight of the strong one. We got to talk about all of it. So the reality
Yeah.
is, and I believe the godly strong woman, she wants to submit to her husband. She's
Absolutely.
ready to rest her head. She's tired. She's been strong all her life. She's tired. So she needs arms that she can trust. So can
That's
she?
really good.
It takes a building. I'm not talking about, you know, these disrespectful no, I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about a real one. She
Yeah,
needs arms
because
that she could trust.
there are some people, I posted on Instagram and I asked people to um send me some questions that they may want to discuss. And I received a question from a gentleman who asked, like, just as you stated, Jen, I think that there are so many people or women who may be deemed to be alpha women. And like you said, it's probably a lot of them probably need healing from being uncovered, or they had to be
Mm-hmm.
strong because they really didn't have another option to. On the
Mm-hmm.
flip side, I'm gonna tell y'all this, and fellas, feel free to jump in. I was really holding to this stigma that black women don't cheat, and black women, we know how to do what's right. I was
Houseway.
sticking to that thing.
Houseway.
I mean, I was holding on strong. I just knew it in my heart, like black women, we don't cheat. That's not what we do. That's not what
Houseway.
we're here to nurture and all of that good stuff. And I had someone to ask me a question that they wanted me to ask you guys. Is it possible, and I guess even I can ask Jen as well, is it possible to realize that maybe men have lost that love just like women have lost at love, and it's been at the hands of the opposite gender, if that makes sense? Like, is it possible to recognize that It's not all men who are out here who are cheating and lying and all of that stuff. That sometimes on the flip side, men have lost that love too.
So this is a topic that we hit a few weeks ago on Black Men Talk, and
Mhm.
we played some videos of a psychologist, and she said all people cheat, which we know to be the truth. All people cheat,
Yeah.
not just black men, black ladies, you cheat as well. The problem is when we talk about the uncovering of cheating,
Mhm.
men are men, when we look at the numbers, they're quicker to speak up and say I am guilty of cheating, whereas they actually find in numbers is that women aren't willing to ever admit that they cheated. So it's not a matter of do men cheat more, women cheat just as much as men do.
More.
Is it
I'm
now?
learning. At
Huh?
John.
More.
Uh-uh.
There's statistics to prove it. They cheat more in our day and age.
And for
Wow.
men, to be honest, John, I hate to say it, but we're a little stupid. We're naive. We think, oh, my woman, she's down here cooking dinner with the kids. There's no way she could cheat on me. That is a lie. Sis hides it well. Sis knows how to hide it. Whereas men, we're not. Remember, we aren't. We don't pay attention to the little things. We're not as detailed sometimes, so we leave stuff hanging. Women cheat. They cheat us as much. I don't. I haven't seen the statistics say more, but I will say they do
Oh.
cheat. And
And let me say something, and I hope Christian doesn't get upset with me
I
when I
probably
say
will.
this. I don't
Mhm.
think we as men are built like women, and that's not to say women. You should put women through pain because they can handle it better. But let me say this: something happens to men when we get cheated on. It breaks us. It breaks women too, but it shuts men up. Let me. That's what I want to say. Men aren't walking around. We don't have support groups where we're like, she cheated on me, bro. Give me. Men aren't doing that. And so what tends to happen publicly is that women control the narrative. I've seen and experienced where women will cheat on men and then get on social media and get ahead of the story and claim he's cheated. I've seen where women will abuse men and then accuse him of abusing her. And what happened is men tend to be sitting back crying behind closed doors, silently suffering, hence why we have such a high suicide rate. Men aren't talking to anyone. They're uh, harboring everything and not knowing how to process things emotionally. But there's a lot of brothers going through. And sometimes, and I was guilty of it for some time, being a relationship coach and one with some level of influence on social media. I spent so much time because I have 82% following of women. I spent so much time empowering women, speaking to women, and neglecting brothers. And then they started to reach out to me and share their experiences to me. And it broke me down because I was like, man, here I am. I've gone through what y'all have gone through, and I completely ignored y'all. Did the exact. No one's addressing it. I wasn't addressing it. I don't know too many other men who. Just look at some of these social media gurus and these coaches and who is dealing with the brothers.
John,
Most of the
because
men
there
are
again, it's
addressing other
easier.
women.
It's so much easier to build a platform off of women than it
It
is
just
men.
is.
Yeah.
It
Because
is.
they're the
Yeah.
ones spending the money. They're buying the books. They're filling up the seats at our events. But
Hmm.
we're forgetting that we're leaving a generation of men, and no one. We have a bunch of wounded men. They're wounded. They're broken. They're hurt, and there's no one there to minister and speak to them. And as a result, you're going to have broken husbands, broken fathers, and that pain just keeps. Perpetually just going on from generation to generation. So I think it's something that we've got to tackle. But men are suffering in silence.
That
Can I?
I would agree. I think that on both sides. Go ahead, Christian.
I just want to say this. Carissa, meet Jacob because I will leave you. Okay, I'm not sitting up here through this. I don't care what I did.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. Right. So right. So I think on both ends, like even the stuff that goes back to like what we were talking about as far as the alpha females and all this stuff and women need protection. And on the opposite end, there are men out here as well who need to be trained, developed, but have also been hurt.
That's
So I
right.
think it's just across the board. People will be people. And so my next question, and I really want to wrap this up because I've held you guys long enough, but I barely have been enjoying the conversation. I can't even pin all these comments because I mean people are writing whole dissertations right now. I can't keep up. Really, it's been awesome tonight. But speaking to that, as far as singleness, there is a motivational speaker. Her name is Lisa Nichols. Not sure if you guys have ever heard of her before.
Mm-hmm.
She is 57 or
54.
54 years old. And she has just got married, you guys, for the first time at 54 years of age. Why do you guys think it's taking so long? And I can't even say that because I don't know what's been going on in this pandemic. I'm gonna ask this question, but I just want to pause and say I don't know what's been going on in this pandemic because every time I pop on social media every now and again, I see at least 5, 6 people getting married, getting proposed to, which I'm super, super, super excited about. But for the rest of everybody else, why do you guys think it's taking so long for singles to decide to get married?
I
What's the
think
problem? What's the
I think
holdup,
because
y'all?
we're telling women they can't have success and marriage at the same time.
Mm,
Um, and
okay,
so
that's good.
if you look at the previous generation, they got married early, and a lot of them ended up divorcing. So what happened is they tend to go into the beauty salons and they're teaching the younger women or they're feeding them rather from the breast milk of bitterness, and they're telling
Mm,
them just don't get married. And so you have women who build their career, work, get to a certain place in life, and by the time they get there, a lot of them unfortunately are in their 40s. And then we have an issue because you're in your 40s and how do I explain this? Lord have mercy.
just be sure to add men in there too, because I know of a lot of guys as well. Again, it's both men and
Yeah, but
women
here's the
who are
thing.
waiting to get
This is going
married
to
older.
sound so unfair, but we have to
Okay,
address it.
all right.
As men age,
Mm-hmm.
we, Lord, I don't want to say our value. It's easier for us to still find even a much younger woman,
Okay.
a 20 something, early 30s. So, because he's becoming more and more established, stability looks good
Mm-hmm.
on a man.
Okay.
We're 45, we're well established, we have multiple homes, multiple businesses. Women just are just drawn to that. For women, it's the
Okay.
opposite. You see, so you waited until you're 45, and now what tends to happen with the women is they have fertility issues. Uh, they're they're somewhat in competition with some of the younger women, and so you're having
Mm.
a lot of these IG baddies are 45, 50 years old. These, I'm telling you,
I ain't
Yeah.
seen the
there
40
are
and
some
50-year-old ones.
grandmothers
I'm
in there battling the 22, 23 year olds.
Battling. Oh,
I'm telling you. And so
battling.
and it hasn't registered
Okay.
to a lot of them, and unfortunately it's a tough it's unfair. But as women age within their dating pool, it doesn't get easier. It gets a lot more difficult for them. I've had women
Okay.
reach out to me 58 and 59 and 60 something. I'm waiting on the Lord. Waiting on the Lord. Baby girl.
You're
No.
waiting.
First of
But
all,
it
that's not
happens
baby
though.
girl. Don't
Lisa
call her
Lisa
baby
is an
girl.
example that
That's
Lisa is an
mother.
example that it happens. Uh what
That's
happened?
mother. That's not baby girl. That's mother. Okay, that's not baby girl.
That's
Mother.
the part that said me.
Mother. Jen, I want to get your perspective on this. Why is it taking people so long to decide to get married?
I think it's a wide range of things. I don't
Okay.
think it's just one answer. I think that in the church per se, since we've all established that's a part of who we are, I think there's these unrealistic expectations that people are shooting for,
Mm,
and they want these things that it's great to have standards, right? It's great to
yeah.
have preferences, but sometimes you don't even meet your own preferences. So I feel that sometimes
That
you're
part.
passing you're passing amazing people because you're like, that's not good enough, or you don't have this or you don't have that. And it's like, I mean, no shade,
Neither
no
do
shade.
you.
Like you know. So
Right.
I think that's a part of it. I think we have created this fantasy around relationships in general that it will be all fairy tale and no work, so
Yeah.
that people feel like the slightest inkling of work that they have to do in a relationship to make it work that could possibly lead to marriage, then it's not God, because this is just too hard.
Right.
I also think that women can't propose to themselves.
Mm,
So, I do think that because of there are more women than men, then
right.
sometimes men have more options, so they take a longer time to decide. I heard from I don't know who I heard it from, but women want the right one and men want the right time, or something like that. So I
Mm,
think it's a whole lot of, it's just different factors. It's a whole lot of different factors. And I think sometimes, and I say this all the time, I say this on every platform, dating is a cultural practice. It is not a biblical principle. So
right.
therefore, I believe that we try to over spiritualize things that are very natural. Do you
Mhm.
like him? Yes or no? Like, do you think like do
Period.
you think that and we, of course, like you said before, we include God in
Mhm.
our decisions, right? We include God and we ask him, is this the best for me? So, and by no means am I telling you to just marry anyone, but I think that you are speaking in tongues and, circling around the mountain 8 times. When homeboy said, I really love you and I see you, and you're
Right.
like, no, you're not holy enough. Like, it's just this whole, I just think there's a lot of factors.
Okay.
Also, last thing I'll say, we used to have this is still the standard, right, for
Hmm.
Christians. So I want to be very clear on that. But there used to be you waited to have marriage, or you waited to be married to have sex. And now you
Right.
just doing anything. Like, you're doing whatever you want to do. So um there is no rushing to get married because you want to burn, because you're not burning. You're doing anything. Like,
Right.
you're burning, you're going to go to hell, but you're doing whatever
You
you want
gonna
to do.
burn. You
Right.
gonna
You're going to
burn.
burn. You're going to burn. So I
Right.
want to be very clear in saying that the standard is still the standard, right?
Hmm.
But because people are just doing whatever they want to do, there isn't no rush to the altar to have the undefiled bed. We just creating our own beds.
But see, I think, well, I don't want to get in trouble on my own
Yeah.
thing,
So,
but I mean, even with that, it's a very true statement, Jen, but it's also an unfortunate statement
yeah,
because
no,
to
I'm not saying it's
suggest
right.
that
It's not
is
right
to
at
almost
all.
suggest that the reason why a majority of people get married is to only have sex. And marriage, in my opinion, my humble single opinion,
Mm-hmm.
should be comprised of so much more than just sex. You're gonna spend more time on your feet than you are on your back, and that's just my opinion.
No. I
But
agree with that.
More
I'm
time
saying
on
that,
your
yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm just
your
saying
back.
that component
Come on,
of
church.
I love you, I enjoy you, I want to be with you, and because I know that we're waiting to have sex, like
hmm.
the
No, I
I
agree.
believe
I
that we're
agree with what you're
yeah,
saying. I was
yeah,
saying it's an unfortunate truth. Like what
yeah,
you're saying is factual, and I think
yeah,
it's because of the society that we live in. We have no need for commitment when we have options and we're able to get everything that we want.
right.
But what I'm saying is, to my point, is that I feel like it's just sad that a lot of people typically do rush to the altar
Mm.
just for
Well,
sex,
they
or they wait.
hunching. They hunching. They want a wedding. These people want a wedding.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. They want a wedding. They've been hunching and they want a wedding. And what me and my boy Koopy are right now, y'all been seeing all this stuff. We say it all the time.
Yes.
We just need to plan an adult prom and let the people go to, and you put on
Because
your
that's
little
all they
wedding
want to do.
gown.
They just want to get dressed up.
You just want a wedding.
They want
But you
Mhm.
pictures
gotta
in a
live with me
party.
after
They don't want
this.
the marriage.
Right,
You
right,
gotta live
yeah,
with me. You gotta live with
yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah. And so
I,
I think all of you guys have made some wonderful points tonight. So I just want to wrap it up because we spent extra time on here tonight, and I mean didn't nearly get through half of the singleness and dating, but I think tonight was such a very needed conversation, and thank you all again for being a part. Again, I may want to take like one or two questions if everybody on live ping your questions in the comments real quick, and I can see if maybe we could take one or two before we get off of here. Also, if you guys want to sew into these awesome people, their cash apps are pinned below. I know John is doing all of these wonderful things, giving information about people in relationships. Jen has Single Safe and Social. Christian is doing his podcast with Black Men Talk and all of this different stuff. So I want you all to be sure to follow all of the platforms that they have. Tonight was an awesome conversation. And again, I just want to thank you guys for being a part. If you guys have any questions, pin them down below. Otherwise, I think I'm going to give it a minute. But we're going to end the broadcast. Jen had me and Jen, we were a part of this live together, and I made a statement, and I just wanted to expound on it because my sis, she shared it, and I didn't know she was going to share it. And while we're waiting for some comments, but Christian and John, I don't know if you guys have heard this. If you guys have heard this saying before, but I've been seeing a lot of memes and stuff out, and they be telling women like, sis, just be his peace, be his peace, be his peace. And in my humble opinion, I feel as though people, when you're talking about dating and relationships, everybody should come with their own level of peace, right? Everybody should come. You shouldn't date somebody to make you happy or to bring you peace. When you get together with someone and you're dating, I think they should be in addition to something that you already have, right? And not take away from what you already have. But I seen this meme out so much. I was on the live and I was telling Jen, I said, I'm so sick of hearing sis be his peace when some guys aren't women's protection, because in order to have peace there has to be a level of protection there. When I say protection, I don't just mean physically, I mean emotionally, I mean all of the stuff together. Do you guys agree with that statement, Christian and John? How do you
Hold
feel
on,
about
can
that?
I say something real quick? They're
Yeah.
saying in the comments that they can't see the cash app because it's not showing on the screen. So
Okay,
I
let
guess
me
if
look.
everyone's gonna
I,
drop
I
it.
think it's the format of the lettering that you chose that's doing that. It's showing as boxes.
Yeah.
Oh really? Okay, got you. All right, but y'all answer that for me real quick. How do you all feel
I think
about that
my
statement?
understanding of that meme, I've seen it trending actually for some years now. Be his peace.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think my understanding of it may be a little bit different than that of your understanding
Okay.
of it. I think be his peace is talking to a particular type of sister,
Mm-hmm.
and
Okay.
well, at least to me, that's how I perceive
Come
it.
with the rah rah all
And
the time.
that type is the type that brings a lot. I don't know how to explain it, but there are some individuals out here that just comes with a lot of drama. All right, and
Mm-hmm.
they just don't believe in having a peaceful day, a peaceful hour.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I'll go a little further with you. I know some women that when they get into relationships and there's not drama there, they'll create it, or else they're deemed that relationship to be boring
Mm.
because that's what they perceive as excitement.
Got
And
you.
then when the man leaves, a lot of them will be, and that's not, I'm not saying this is all women, but to the group that I think is speaking to, that's probably what they're saying. There are women that'll
It's
tell
still
you,
not showing, Alonda. I'm sorry.
They said it's still not showing.
Mm-mm.
Really? I'm looking at it on both.
No, I
Y'all
can
can
see
see
it
it.
when we're on, but in the since I had it on
Facebook
my
is not
phone,
showing.
Okay.
it's not showing.
Got you.
Just
All right.
FYI.
Got you.
it's the font.
Okay.
It's the font. But yeah, there are
Got
some
you.
sisters that will tell you men are boring because they don't like to deal with the drama, and it's what they're accustomed to. It's the environment they grew up in. It's the norm that they have. It's toxic, but if toxicity was your norm, you come into relationships thinking that this is normal. And I've
Right.
heard women tell me this man is so boring. I'm like, well, what? He don't want to argue. He don't fuss back at me.
Right.
He don't want to yell.
That's what some women have told you.
Women have said this to me, yeah.
But can
And
I
Hmm.
I'm like,
suggest something,
I'm
John?
confused.
Okay.
What's the problem?
Right.
And it's to them, it's boring. They need more. They need what they see on Love and Hip Hop or what they see on these reality shows, and
Well, that don't
they
sound
don't
like they need to be
understand
dating.
that to some degree, some of that is scripted and not 100% organic. Um,
But can I
and
suggest something, John? Like why would you date someone that's always rah
I was
rah
about
all
to
the
say
time?
that they
Like
don't need
would
to be
you
dating.
leave? Because the
well,
reality
here's the
is
thing.
men be liking that. Like
No,
and
no, no. It's
I'm
not that
not
we like
wrong
that. I'm going to be honest with
most
you.
times.
Here it is. Let me be as
And
transparent
then
as I
y'all
can.
please tag me in.
Sometimes we struggle with how fine y'all is and how
If you
toxic
find,
you
we'll put
guys
up for
are.
some stuff.
Y'all are fine, but y'all be toxic. And sometimes we have this little complex too where we're like, maybe the Lord will do a work in her heart. Maybe
Uh
Please, John, tag me in. Can I say this?
Tag.
Thank you.
You're it.
Tag team service now. Uh, so another thing that singles should do, have Jesus, but please get you a therapist because Black people in general, we have dealt with
Yes.
so much trauma. We have
Yes.
stuff that from the house
Yeah.
that we bring and in a relationship, what you're attempting to do is bring two pasts, two histories together. You know, when you're serious about an individual, that's what you're meshing to do. Here is the thing. You could have done the personal work yourself while you were by yourself, but that does not mean that you touched areas that are necessarily going to that needed to be developed to be with this specific person. And so while you out here championing the way for therapy and personal growth, realize that you're two people coming together. And sis, he may trigger some things in you that thought you didn't you had worked through, and you are going back to your old ways. And the guy doesn't need, and sometimes what happens is men don't even know that we're triggering you. We just see you acting out, and what we really think is she need to act right, but we save sanctified, so I can't give her to act right like she need. But what it really is I've triggered you from an old place, and you have to communicate that to me so that I then can provide the protection and the peace that you need. Let me say this. We can't talk about Black relationships and not talk about slavery. You all, we're talking about
For sure.
protecting our Black women. Black men couldn't protect their Black women.
Hmm.
She didn't submit to her husband, she submit to master. We're
Right.
avoiding a really big piece. And so in that's passed down from generation to generation. Black men don't know how to be your peace. We don't know how to be your protection. And likewise, some of you don't know how to do the same either because you're still
Mm,
triggered by your old stuff. So
that's
please
good.
be honest and communicate with that man.
I love that.
That's
That's
good.
good.
I like
That's
that.
good. You
I want to
guys,
be his piece. I want to be his safe
listen.
space.
Be his peace, sis.
But you're
Be
not
his
gonna be
peace.
disrupt. You're not gonna be disrupting me trying to
I
be
know
your
that's
peace.
right.
Right.
I'm not gonna be
Exactly.
laying down my life and I'm miserable trying to be your peace because you raggedy. That's my favorite word. You
Not rag.
raggedy.
That's
No, I
fighting
want to be.
words.
I want us to be a safe place for each other.
For
When the
each
world
other.
outside is crazy, I want us to find a safety and a sense of home in each other.
Yeah.
So
I think that's real, Jen, and definitely truthful for most real women out here. You know, ain't nobody. It'd be a lie. That's why I
mhm.
don't. I be
If you
leaving
can
the
be
date
my
and stuff up to
protection,
y'all. Cause
if you could be
listen, you
my
gotta
protection,
protect now.
and if
You have
I
to
will
protect.
gladly, I now I'm gonna act right. You
Yeah.
do right. I'm gonna act right most time. Good women, not
Not
that
I
we're
not.
like that.
bad,
Oh,
but we're
Yeah.
trying. If
I like that you
women who
clarified
are
that and said good
mature,
women.
who want to have meaningful relationships, we are not your
Hmm.
enemy. We don't want to be
Right.
your enemy. We are not in competition with you. I
True.
want you to. I want to be the first person that you call when you get good news and bad news. I want you to call me.
Yes.
Right.
Like I
Preach.
want to say, I want you to say, babe, what you think about this? I want you to
Hmm.
say, babe, today was a rough day, but I want to be able to do that in return, and I
Well,
want you to be
Jen,
Yeah.
I
definitely
have to
do
Right.
that.
tell you, I know you're a mature woman, Jen, and I know you know why because most women do not bring up this very true piece that there is a ratio for Black men to Black women. I have never heard a Black woman come out of her mouth and say men actually do have this option and they have a
Listen.
choice of women that they want to choose because there are so few of them. Thank you for saying that.
But
I'm
Yeah.
turning
some
to the
guys.
But
bad
I
guy
think
by
In
it's
saying that.
addition, though, some guys need to change their appetite because we can
yeah.
sit here all day and
Preach.
talk about there are now we know there are good women out here who want to do all the things that Jen said. But it's not going to mean a hill of beans if the woman you keep choosing is the one that you got to create the meme about, talking about
Amen.
be my peace
But
I
when we
think
because of
talk
whatever
about this,
reason.
women are gone, men are visual, women are too. I'm not taking that away. Some of these women don't present well. Okay, you got to present
But
well.
okay, all right, and to that point, some men don't present well either, and
That's
and I
true.
think I think because of the ratio that we just talked about, there have been some men who have been walking in a spirit of arrogance and they
Mm.
forget that just because you have a preference doesn't mean that your preference, that you're somebody, you're your preference, if that makes
But a
sense.
woman, we talk about this all the time. A woman can love a man that treats her well, even if she's not attracted to him. A
That's
man
true.
don't have that. A man don't have that. If a man treats you well and somehow you squint your eye and you see Idris Elba or somebody, you give him a try. But a man can't squint his eye. It is what it is.
All I'm saying is number one, beauty isn't number
Elba
one. I
Idris,
just want to
whatever
put this. I
Idris
just want to
Elba,
put this
whatever
out
his
here.
name is.
I
Huh?
just want to put this out here. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That's
Yeah,
number one. Number
whatever.
two, I'm saying everyone should look in the mirror before we start talking about preferences of anything. That's my thing. I'm just saying, look in the mirror. I'm not talking about, well, women will give more grace because it is somewhat true. I'm just saying, you may not be your preference.
I'll call
And
you
that's the
after and tell
reality.
you what I
And,
want to
and
tell
I don't
you.
think it's fair to say to women, well, you should be okay with what you're presented with
No, I'm not saying that. But
because of the
when we
ratio.
but you can't overlook that ratio. The ratio
Can't
exists.
overlook it.
You
Yeah.
can't overlook
You
it. It
can't, you
exists.
can't.
And I'm not saying, I'm just saying, sis, you I ain't gonna talk about you just put on some clothes. And I know some of y'all is apostolic, but you may need a little makeup, sis. You may just need a little something. And then go back to that
Christian, you
rapper.
are talking like y'all are the boss men of y'all. You're talking like there is a abundance of Renaissance men who are amazing, smell good, got good jobs, got good credit, and all of that within the confines of our churches. I get you, bro, but I want you to take that same energy and take to your men that need some fixing up because all of them are not where you are.
I tell
Absolutely
these
right what
brothers,
you're
and I'm
saying.
hard on the
But these
brethren.
three-piece suits that are too big, these
And
ones
Stacey
who want
Adams,
church
you
jobs and
hear?
don't have real jobs, these
I'd
ones that
rather
don't
Stacey
have
be
good
too
Adams
credit,
big
I
than
and Steve
want you
too
to take
Harvey
that same
small.
Dent.
energy, and talk to them.
I
I'm
agree.
here for it. I'm here for it. I'm just saying the ratio exists. We all need to present well. We need to present well. Keep it in
Present
mind.
well. That's good.
But
I'm
also
taking
being,
that. Present well.
but also keeping in mind, once again, because I had to make this statement and always put my disclaimers out there because I never know who is watching. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Everybody is beautiful to somebody. What we don't think is presentable is absolutely presentable for somebody. Maybe not you, but for somebody. So there's somebody for everybody, you know? Even with the ratios out there, saints, hold on, don't be discouraged, don't be dismayed. There is
Right.
somebody for everybody, and everybody is beautiful because we're all God's creation. So I just want to end on that note. Thank you again. What you say, Christian?
Hashtag present well. Y'all listen
Somebody
there if you
said
want to.
define it.
Since you better go put some clothes on.
Somebody said define present well, Christian.
Define present well. Do something with your hair. Make sure your hair compliment. And this is to a man
but
and a
but
woman.
Christian, you're going
Hmm.
to be speaking from your, and I agree, I know what you're saying, but I'm just letting you know that you're going to be speaking from your
Yes.
preference. Okay.
Yes. Well, this is what I'm saying. I think I'm speaking for a lot of brothers. Men like all types of body types, body shapes. That's not what I'm talking about. But with
Okay.
whatever you rocking, make sure that you wearing some outfits that are presentable. If you're 28 years old, woman of God, we know you sanctified. Don't come up here looking like a church mother. You're not 60 years old. Yeah, uh-huh.
So I think I get what you're saying and I get where you're coming from, but I think that to suggest that that would mean that everyone that is married is presented well, is well dressed, is well groomed, is
And they're
well
not.
smelled, and they're not. That's
But
not the
Jen, wouldn't you agree that if you are single and
Mhm.
you say, especially as a woman, right? Because a
No,
woman has
I
to be
teach
approached.
that. You need to look good. So I'm not
Yeah, that's
saying
all I'm
that,
saying.
but
Put
I'm
your
going
best
back
in.
to I agree with that, but I'm going back to Alonda's point. Whatever you think is presented well may not be someone else's presented well. Because they don't have what you think, there's women that don't wear makeup, that have the companionship that they desire. There's women that don't do these extra things to their hair. So I do believe that singles should present the best of themselves, but the
For
standard,
themselves.
right?
For
When Esther,
themselves.
when
That's
Esther
the
went to
point.
go see the king, she went and prepared herself. She made sure that they made sure she was presented
Yeah,
well, the
you're
best.
right.
Okay,
You're right.
sis, if you want a husband, whatever your best is, that's how we gonna put your best. Every time you go out, if you go to the grocery store, a man could approach you at the grocery store. Don't come out here with your sweat clothes. And I know we all have
Right.
days, but sis, keep in mind, a man could be looking at you and wanting to approach you at any time. And if you're not together, he has choices and he's gonna pass on. Now, brothers, if y'all leave me hanging in this chat, I'm gonna be real angry.
I agree
Y'all
with
better
you, but
tell
No,
me
he's
I
something
right.
think it's
too.
He
I
getting
no,
no,
I
very
don't do
agree.
no. They going
superficial.
in.
Like
They
I
going in
agree
Right.
the
with
comments.
you.
That's
They're with you.
It's getting very
that's my point,
superficial
Jen.
because guess
You
what?
started a whole
When I look the
hashtag
most
present well.
casual is when I get the most
Hashtag present.
hollers.
You said what? Say it
No,
again.
When I
that's
look
real,
the
Jen.
most casual is when I
Yeah,
get the
that's
most
real.
hollers. So that's what I'm saying. Like I
That's
agree with
real.
what you're saying, but it's getting into this superficial lane. Girl, be yourself. Like if you don't
And
look crusty,
yes.
whatever. Like I get what you're saying, but to say that I gotta do it's these check boxes for women, I'm not with that. Like I literally get the most hollers when I just run to, and I'm not raggedy by no means. I know how to put it
But
together.
sis,
We all know
and
that
we
really
know
well.
that. But some of
Right.
these women don't care. They will get up and just go. They will get up and just go.
Leave the bonnet behind. I agree.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with what everyone is saying, but to Jen's point, yeah, like definitely get the most hollers when you're being. So I'm just saying, present
I get
well,
what you're saying.
definitely, but more than it being for someone else,
For
present
yourself.
your
Do it for
best self
you.
in your
Yeah.
singleness. Do it because you feel like you feel good and you want to look good, not necessarily to attract other people, but because where are the things that make you look good? Where are the things that you feel like are
That's all
flattering
I'm
to you?
saying. What makes you look good, what flatters you. That's all
Right.
I'm
I
saying.
agree.
Christian
Listen,
said,
I'm not,
put this
let
makeup
me say
on.
this.
Y'all do
Let me
that hair.
No, I'm saying because I know the ladies will come. I know I'm not a 10. I'm not 6 feet tall. You go look at my pictures tonight. I ain't 6 feet tall, and I'm not sitting up here with a six. But when I get up, I'm gonna be dressed. I'm gonna do the best that I can because that's my personal brand, and
Mm-hmm.
because I got a lady, but when I wasn't. She liked me to look the way she want me to look. And when I
That's
before her, I still wanted to look a certain way. So that if there was a woman that I wanted to approach, I was gonna put a little oil on today. I don't know who I'm gonna meet, so I
right.
want to be at my best. Present
Right.
well. That's
I
all I'm
agree.
Yeah,
saying.
and
I'm
that's
done.
why
I'm not saying nothing else.
No, I agree with that.
I
I do.
agree too. At the end of the day, present well. But all I'm saying is, whether you're single, you're dating, you desire to be married, make sure in all things that you are whole in your singleness. And yeah, thanks you guys for being on. Tonight was a ball. It was a joy. I'm so appreciative of all of the varying perspectives and outlooks that we got tonight. We even talked about Black Church and slavery. I didn't know we would talk about that, but we talked about everything. So
Oh,
this
I'm
has
gonna talk
just
about
been
slavery.
so this has been wonderful on a real note, and I so appreciate you guys for taking this journey with me in singleness and dating. And the comments have been lighting up. I can't keeping track, but y'all have been amazing tonight. So thank you so much to everybody who is viewing. The cash apps are pinned below. If you guys want to be a blessing to these wonderful speakers tonight, please feel free to sow into them. Again, they all have wonderful ministries that are going and helping, benefiting singles and people who are dating. And these guys are just phenomenal. They're brilliant minds and have awesome gifts. And again, I'm just honored that you guys agreed to be on. So thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate you all. I love you all. And thanks, you guys, all the viewers, for watching. Thanks for taking the journey with Alonda E. Until next time, next week, we'll be talking about the prophetic perspective. And I have some amazing guests on. And when I tell you, you do not want to miss it. It's going to be live at 7:30 p.m. We're going to talk about the prophetic perspective. And I'm talking about real prophets, y'all, not these y'all know what I'm trying to say, because
Rinky Dink.
it's been some foolery going on in the kingdom and on these lives, but real men of God are going to be on next week talking about the prophetic perspective. So I want you guys to join the journey with me on next week as well. Until next time, thanks again. I appreciate you guys. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, y'all.